What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are looking at a completely ready to run 1/10 scale brushless RC car that you can pick up from Amazon by DEERC. Let's take a look. First things first, this box looks pretty premium for something that comes off of Amazon. We have reviewed some DEERC cars in the past, but none that were brushless or 10 scale. So this one is the 10 scale version. It is fully ready to run. Brushless motor, 2.4 gigahertz, 2S Lipo battery, 4-wheel drive, and metal differentials. Alright, so this is all of the components that are in the box. We have our remote over here. We'll take a look at that. Looks like there's nothing else in that box. Standard remote from one of these budget RC brands from Amazon. We have our speed switch. We want to make sure this is all the way up before we test drive this thing. And we have our steering trim. There's no steering dual rate or anything like that. And you will need to provide your own AA batteries. Then we have the car. So this thing looks pretty good out of the box. We have our protective packaging there. Put that aside. And one thing that I am noticing about this car, it has the nice little clips here with the, as you can see, the little dongles on them that you can take those off nice and easily. Take those off. And this car actually comes with 2 bodies, which is really nice. And a lot of RC car companies from Amazon seem to be doing this, or giving you a clear body to begin with. So this one comes with an orange body as well as a pink body. You also get your instruction manual, including full part out description in case you need to buy replacement parts. I'm not sure if you can find any on Amazon yet, but just a good little thing to have in case something breaks. And we also get a little pouch here full of goodies, so let's empty this out. Oh, this is new. We have a little brush here to clean everything off, so get that inside. You also get some extra body clips there. Looks like we have 2 batteries with this, one that is already in there and one in the packaging here. So these are 1800 milliamp hour 2S Lipos, so that's nice. Dean's connector on those as well. And then in here it feels like we have an assortment of replacement parts. So this is something that some Amazon companies have been doing recently, and this one comes with 2 chargers for both batteries, which is nice. These are USB chargers. We also have a little screwdriver, some replacement hexes for the wheels, as well as some nuts for the wheels, additional body clips. That's interesting that there's 2 packages of those. We have a spare pinion, which is great to have, as well as a spare spur gear. So really nice that they include those, because these budget RC cars tend to strip gears, and especially on brushless power, this thing might be going through gears pretty quickly. We also have just your regular wheel tool there and some additional steering components. These are for the steering linkages, front and it looks like rear ones as well, so that's really nice to have. Actually, so these extra body clips here, these are for the wing. So this wing will go on either one of the bodies. I think I'm going to go with the orange one for now, but it goes on the body. This will clip into here, and we'll show you what that looks like all put together. Like I was saying before, both bodies are exactly the same. They have the protective coating on it. But what's interesting enough is there are no decals in the box. As you can see here, the front of the body is blank, as well as the rear of the body and the back. There's no stickers that come with it for, you know, lights and stuff like that. So kind of odd. I'm not sure if they forgot to put those or what's up with that. Maybe you'll get them in your package, but taking a quick look at the box, you can see that there are some headlights and stuff like that on the body that are not on ours. So a bit of an interesting design there for the wing, but I guess it does the job. You can see the 2 body clips right there, as well as the 4 underneath. And there's our wing. So these do look pretty cool. Let's get into the components of the car. So as I was saying before, this car is fully brushless. We have a brushless ESC receiver combo, as well as a brushless motor, and a 3-wire servo, which is nice, so you can upgrade that down the road. This motor has a nice little heat sink on it, so you could add a fan later on if you wanted to. Good little setup. I've seen this setup before in a lot of budget Amazon cars, so I'm sure some parts for other cars will be interchangeable. These shocks do not feel like oil-filled shocks. We'll take a look at those in just a second, but as you can see, a lot of plastic along the chassis here. Everything underneath is plastic as well. We do have a little aluminum skid plate there. That's kind of nice. These tires are air-filled. There's no foam in them, but they are completely separate from the rim. So you could take the tire off, it looks like, and maybe put something else on there, but they are air-filled. The air does not come out of them. There's no foam in there. So it might add to the bounciness of the ride, especially with these shocks that seem to be friction shocks. So while we're talking about the shocks, let's take a look at what's inside one of them here. We'll just pull down the spring a little bit and twist off the cap. And it looks like, not sure if you can see that, but ooh. Okay, so there looks like there's some sort of grease in there. I'm not sure why they put grease in a shock. So I think before we run this, I'm going to fill this up with some 80 weight oil. These seem to be really, really bouncy. It's going to help out. I've seen how these cars run with these shocks, and it is not good. So make sure you take a look at the shocks before you run this if you pick one of these up, and any other RC car from Amazon. Alright, so I went ahead and filled up the shocks with actual oil, and they are still super bouncy. That might be an issue. I kind of have a feeling that all the oil that I put in there is going to leak out, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So moving on, the front and rear drive shafts are CV drive shafts. They are metal, which is nice, and they go into metal ball cups on both ends, so that's really good. It does feel like the differentials have absolutely no fluid in there, as you can see here. So this car, I'm not sure how the handling is going to be. I think it's going to really spin out pretty easy, but we are going to drive it as is. This car does have some nice LEDs already set up in the front bumper, so that's cool. You can go ahead and add more. It looks like there's another little spot in there if you wanted to change it. The ESC actually says that it is capable of 2S or 3S, so it says right on there to go ahead and try and use 3S if you want. It's a 45 amp ESC. So we will definitely be trying speed runs on the provided 2S as well as 3S batteries. Something else to note on this car, you can move the body posts up and down, which is really great. So you can change the look of the car if you want. And there are a bunch of different positions for the shocks in the front and rear. It looks like there's 5 holes on the bottom as well as 3 up top. And the same as the front, I believe there's 4 holes on the bottom and 3 up top as well. So I think I'm going to put the shocks so this car has a little more ride height, so when we drive it off-road it will handle as it should. So we got the body all set up on this thing. We got the orange one going. We're going to take this thing outside. We'll do 2S, 3S speed runs, and then we'll bash it. So we got our DEERC 200E out here. Again, brushless version, $200. And we're going to do some speed runs. We'll hit it off the jump in a little bit. But I want to check out those claims of saying that this thing hits 60 kilometers an hour, which is almost 40 miles an hour. This is full speed on the 2S Lipo, and this is really slow. This might not even be 20 miles an hour. That's full throttle. As you can see, speed switch is all the way up for anyone wondering. And this is super underwhelming. For 200 bucks, I would expect this thing to go a lot faster. And we lost our GPS. We got one good speed run there. Let's see what our top speed was. 16 miles an hour. I don't know if I have something in there wrong or what, but this is a fully charged battery, 2S Lipo, the one that it came with it. Less than 20 miles an hour. That's super underwhelming. So as I mentioned in the unboxing, this ESC receiver combo does allow up to 3S batteries. So we're going to put a 3S in there, and this is one of those DHD power batteries. I bought this off of Amazon. I'll link it down below. And yeah, so this car should handle 3S. I'm wondering if that 37 mile an hour claim that they're boasting on the page for it is from a 3S battery. I doubt a 3S battery is going to double the miles per hour from 16, but let's plug this thing in and find out. All right, so 3S batteries installed. GPS has not zeroed out because I'm assuming the 3S is going to go faster than the 2S. Let's see here. We might lose our GPS just because it's super cold and nothing's really sticking to the body, but we'll figure that out too. See if we can get one good pass here on 3S. That's full speed. All right, that's a lot quicker. Oh, and we lost our GPS. Well, that was definitely quicker. I don't even know if that's 37 miles an hour, but to say it goes almost 40 out of the box, I would be disappointed if I bought this for 200 bucks. Another thing to note is that you can see the braking is super harsh on it, and because it's an ESC receiver combo, there's nowhere to plug a programming card into it and change that. So it's really difficult to really throttle the brake. So you might be stripping gears with that. It just full on brakes. So something else to note, but I think if you really want this thing to perform the way it should, you got to run a 3S battery in this. I would not recommend running it on the 2S. It's just too slow. Those oil-filled shocks that don't really work very well as oil-filled shocks make this a super bumpy ride. I mean, the 3S battery really livens it up. Ooh. Cold weather and jumping is definitely going to be bad news. But let's see if we can get some jumps going with the 3S. Because of that super harsh braking, maneuverability in the air is going to be somewhat difficult. Even tapping the brake is going to send this thing into a nosedive. There we go. We leveled it out with some throttle. Handles the grass great on 3S. I'm not sure how long this battery will last, but if you're going to buy this car, buy it and get a 3S battery with it. You will not be disappointed on 3S. But then again, you're going to have to upgrade the shocks as well, and at that point you're pushing $250, almost 300 bucks. And for that range, I would recommend an ARRMA. I would just hate for someone to buy this car hoping that they're going to get a lot more car for $200 and end up with something that's somewhat toy grade, pushing hobby grade, but definitely a lot to be desired on the 2S battery. 3S, I'm having a blast, but I don't know how much those gears are going to take slamming the brakes like that. Little nosedive. Knocking the Insta over. Looks like we have our first little bit of casualty here. The wing mount broke off there, as you can see. All the things are still on. We lost the body clip. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much else to say. I think I said it all. 200 bucks I think is a bit overpriced for something of this quality. I think they're really banking on the brushless version to entice people, but I personally would steer clear of this. For 200 bucks, I would go with maybe a used ARRMA or something from a name brand company. Oh, and we broke something. I hope this came with spares in the box. So a big letdown on this car that I was reading on the Amazon page for it is that the steering servo in it, like I was saying before, it's super weak. It's actually only a 2.2 kilogram servo. So super underpowered servo. That's why you can't really get this thing to drive in a straight line. So the three main takeaways from this thing are, unfortunately, you're gonna have to upgrade it to keep it running smooth. Getting a better servo, getting a better 3S battery, and of course upgrading those shocks that are super bouncy even though they're oil filled. So I would steer clear of this thing. It was a good attempt at something more hobby grade, but it definitely leaves a lot to be desired right out of the box.